It's finally time to wide body the G37 in the rear, so let me show you how I do it without welding. So the good news is that since I'm not stanting this car, I don't need to go too low, which means I don't need to cut it too high. I'm kind of going to have the over fender be at the same height as my original fender, it's just going to be offset more. Yeah, so this is going to be a first for me. We're using the same tool that I used to cut out the holes for my hood louvers. Well, I went all the way through. It looks like towards the bottom here, it's just like one piece, so I cut all the way through both welded sheets. I think I have to cut this bottom edge right here so that the two welded sheets can separate. But the bumper section comes right off. That's the easy part. I also cut out the metal on the quarter panel side of the bumper attachment because I don't want to have my tires rubbing on that. Okay, so that's what it looks like. Now we have to kind of like kick this back and get it flush with the other panel, and then we're gonna bond it together. Okay, so what I had to do was cut slits in the inner panel, and then I used a hammer to kind of hammer out those like flower edges. I tried using pliers at first, but it didn't work so well. Hammers seem to work a lot better. And this is how the other side turned out. So I got the tires installed on my new wheels with the plus 15 offset, and I just wanted to lower the car on them to see how they look. And it looks like I have quite a bit of gap. Remember, I'm also on springs that are twice as stiff as stock, so this isn't going to fluctuate as much. I'm just going to test drive it right now the way it is, just to make sure I'm not scraping. So right now on a big angle, you can see I actually have all the load on this wheel, and there's still quite a bit of gap. So the test drive went well, I had no rubbing. Now I took the wheels off, and it's time to seal the sheet metal so that we don't get any water in there and that it holds together. So I got this 2-piece paddle bond epoxy and the epoxy gun to shoot it out. Okay, so it's all sealed up. Doesn't look the prettiest because I'm still gonna have to like sand it down after I cut this outer lip, but it's sealed up all the way along the outer edge. I did 2 layers, and then underneath, like all the little gaps. Wherever I saw bare metal, I basically did. And the final step was to paint any exposed metal after cutting those edges to prevent rust. If you have an expensive, flawless paint job on the car, you may want to do a better job covering up the paint. Okay, so yeah, that's it. It's all painted so that there's no metal surfaces raw shown, so I'm not going to get rust. And it's all sealed up so no water can get underneath. This is how you prepare for wide body in the rear. And tomorrow we're going to start doing the over fender, but that's the easy part. So I got to the end of my wide body install and then realized I failed big time because my flares are not the right size. They sent me completely the wrong size. You can see how much smaller in diameter they are. I measured them and they weren't anything close to what I ordered. They sent me the mini size instead of the standard size. I thought I'd be able to heat mold them into shape, but absolutely not. I wasn't even close. So I need to find something else to replace these, and I want your guys' opinion. The new flares finally showed up for the car, and they're actually the right size, as you can see. I think they look so much nicer than those universal flares that I had before. I'm gonna have to shape this with the rivets and everything, but the best part about this is that they're actually the same color as the car, and it's already like glossy and everything, so I'm not even gonna paint them. I can just leave it as is. But I think that looks so much better, so let's get them on. So I got them fitted up exactly how I wanted them, and then I drilled 3 matched holes through the cover and the fender itself, so that when I take this off and put it back on, I can line them up. Okay, so I have the pilot holes in there. Now what I have to do is just cut these fenders up a little bit higher. I can go basically all the way up to the lines. Much higher because I was scraping when I was test driving the car. Yep, so same thing as before. They cut the outer layer and then bent up the inner layer and then used a bunch of panel bond. It's all messy right now, but I still got to trim off the tabs. Okay, now that everything's all cut up, I'm putting the fenders back on, and I have my 3 holes here that are still in the same spot, and I have the rivets just sitting in place. I put 3 of them on, and I'm going to rivet the middle one in. Well, it's been a minute since I riveted something, but yep, that's how it looks. The middle piece just comes sliding out when you're done if you do it the right way, and nice and secure. So now what I'm going to do is get these other 2 in and then go ahead and finish all the other holes for the rest of the rivets. Okay, I got all the rivets on. I forgot I'm actually going to do nuts and bolts for the bumper. That way if I want to remove the bumper for whatever reason, I can do that. I don't want to have to put a slit in the fender. But this one over here, I had to like push it so hard to bend it to my body frame because again, this is a universal fender. It's not meant for this car. You can see it's like bent a little bit here, but like, I mean, it's fine. It's just that I hope this rivet holds up and it's not too much a load. I did a lot of heat gun over the surface after I riveted it in. That way hopefully the body can like relax and not pull so much load on the rivet. Right here I found some black hex bolts, 1/4 by 1 inch. They have the black nuts and black washers to go with it. Okay, I got the nuts and bolts on. It's the bolt on the outside, and then if you look in here you can maybe see nut number 1 and nut number 2 back there. Okay, it's on the ground. Let's check out the clearance. I'd say it looks pretty good. It looks like the back kind of like ends up sticking out a bit. But first I needed to stretch my back out. So I loaded up the back left wheel, and looking underneath, you can see that there's kind of a lip, and it gets really close to that lip, so I'm gonna probably want to trim it down a little bit. Okay, so that's how it sits. I know we didn't design this for looks, but I think it looks pretty good. You guys had no faith in this whole process. So now all I'm gonna do now is just kind of mess with the different wheel offsets in the rear. I think I'm still gonna be scraping, so I might need to trim out some of the back of the tab in here. And when I'm at the track, I'm gonna try different wheel spacers with different offsets. I think I have from 0 all the way up to 15 in 5mm increments. And we'll see how the performance changes. I think either 5 or 10mm is gonna be the sweet spot.